All right, and I am back with my dual action G44 airbrush model. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart. So I am going to pull off the back. So you're just going to unscrew from back here. See, that piece comes out. Oh, I guess I should tell you the supplies that I have. I've got a couple of wet wipes here, a cotton ball, 2 toothpicks, and I don't know if I'll use them both. And the only thing that most people won't have around their house is a piece of pipe cleaner. So I did go get a nice cheap pack of pipe cleaner from the dollar store to help me with this process, and a small bottle of water. So water should be sufficient. There's a lot of airbrush cleaners. MAC has an airbrush cleaner that I actually use as a mixing medium, so I can use my regular foundation as an airbrush makeup. But I digress. Anyway, so I've already pulled the back off. I'm going to loosen this screw here just a little bit, not a whole lot, because this holds in, this mechanism here holds all of this in, and I really don't want all of this piece to come undone. And then I'm going to unscrew the front, and you'll see the needle there. And that's a pretty delicate piece, so be very careful that you don't bend that, because that really does make all the difference in how your airbrush functions. So I am going to grab one of my wet naps, and a lot of people, you know, the trainings show you pull the needle to the back. I don't pull the needle to the back because all of the caked on makeup here, I don't want to pull that all the way back through my airbrush. I just want to move it forward, because that's where the bulk of the air is going to blow out anyway. So I'm just going to be gentle here and grab my needle, and you can already see the gunk that's on here, which is why it was clogging up as I was doing that tutorial. So I am going to basically now just wipe my needle down, and it's pretty simple. Okay. I'm going to sit this here, and this wet nap here really doesn't have any purpose other than being able to see and put your items on things. And I don't do this in the bathroom. I don't know if you noticed I changed locations, and I filmed my makeup stuff in my bathroom. I changed locations because the airbrush, excuse me, has small parts, and I had another airbrush and pieces went down the drain, and that's just not good for your plumbing or for your airbrush. So I'm just going to take the nozzle here and wipe here, and inside the cup where the makeup goes, there's always a good amount of gunk in there, and that is really what the pipe cleaner is for. And as I get ready to go through here, you'll find that there's going to be an air ring in here that's going to fall out. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, I'm going to wet it a little bit with a few drops of water, and I am going to feed it through the cup out through the front, and there's that ring I was talking about. Okay, and then I'm just going to run this back and forth, and you can see it's got makeup on it, and again, all of this kind of stuff. It doesn't look like a lot, but it really can keep your airbrush from working to its optimum level. So I'm just going to re-wet on the other end, so I'm not running dirty makeup through. I want to get a clean, a clear nice and clear coming through. All right, perfect. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this piece here, and I'm going to wipe down that O-ring. And if you really want to kind of get inside of this nozzle, that's what the cotton ball is for. You can take a little piece of the cotton here. I take it and wrap it around the end of the toothpick. And because my fingers are still a little damp, it's working to mold that cotton in place. And then I just kind of put this in here. And as you can see, it's coming out with some gunk on it. And you can do that again a couple of different times. So you don't need a lot, because of course the thicker it is, the harder it'll be for it to go through the little hole there in the nozzle. Dry it out a little bit. All right, And then there's this little tip here, and this little tip really, I mean, it just kind of gets caked on makeup ever so often, but it really doesn't have any real purpose. It's got a larger hole than most. I actually clean this out a lot of times as I'm airbrushing, not because it matters, but just because it annoys me. But that is pretty much all that you need to do to clean your airbrush. And if you'll give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back and we can put it back together again. Then we'll head back over and see how well it works. All right, so I've gotten rid of all of my trash with the dirty parts on it. So now I'm just going to put this back together again. And now the first thing that I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put the nozzle back on. Please remember to add that little O-ring, because if you don't put that O-ring back in there, the air will escape and you will never get makeup to come out of the airbrush. So you're just going to put that back inside, and once you get that inside, then you can put your nozzle back on. Make sure that's in there, right? And so I am going to screw my nozzle back on. My nozzle is going to serve as a stopping point for my needle, and that's why I put that back on before I put my needle back in. Again, be pretty careful with this. You can get replacement needles, obviously, but why take a chance on not being able to make up if you don't have a spare already? So this little piece, as you remember earlier, we loosened this up, so this is still pretty loose. So I'm just going to thread this through the little hole in the back. And inside, I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can't see inside, but inside of this little opening, you'll be able to see the needle pass through. And now the needle has passed through, and it just popped out of the tip here, which I'm pretty sure you can't see because I can barely see that, and I'm sitting right up on it. But of course, I'm over 40 and blind, and I do have on my readers, even though I know you guys can't see up here. So anyway, we're going to lock this back in. So now you see that the needle is locked in tight, and then we are going to put our back end back on, and then we are going to put the very front end back on. And that just protects the tip of the needle. And we are as good as gold. We're back where we started again. The mechanism is back where it's supposed to be. Needles moving back and forth. And then we will head over and put some new makeup in and see how well it works. See you guys soon.